Let's rap. My name is Dave, and this is Harrold. This is our first show, and so I'm going to share 3 principles that are going to guide us as we have this discussion. And so, one, when using the term Black Durham, we mean any person born to a mother or father of African descent, regardless of class, education, gender, and sexual orientation. Number 2, in the spirit of authentic Black empowerment, we will refrain from broadcasting any content that dehumanizes or degrades any specific member of Black Durham. And number 3, it's our primary goal to illuminate the unique perspective, giftedness, and wisdom of our guests in order to contribute to the collective conversation that unify Black Durham. Like I said, today our guest is Harrold Hubbard. My son has had the pleasure of training in his gym. This brother's a Black man continuing the long-standing tradition of excellence in theater of life in the Black community, a coach, a mentor, an educator, example, and a Pan-Africanist that is working to give voice to the misrepresented segment of society. How you feeling, brother?
I'm doing good today. How about yourself?
Good, man. I appreciate you taking the time. With everything going on with COVID, the protest, where are you at, man? How you doing? What you feel about what's happening right now?
First and foremost, I'm just trying to make sure I stay healthy and sane. I haven't been able to train in my gym for well over 3 months, so that's kind of getting me antsy because I'm used to doing that 6 times a week. So as far as the COVID, it's affected me not being able to go to the gym, and it's continue to add to my stress because that's really my stress reliever. But as far as the other climate within the country, I'm trying to make sure that my voice and my opinion is authentic and true, and I'm not letting anything and anyone else change or try to waver it from being authentic to myself and my people within my neighborhood and who and what we truly are. So I'm trying not to let anyone hijack or scapegoat what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking about what's going on in the country.
I feel that. We've gone too long being okay with being censored.
Right.
We've gone too long in the fringes. We've gone too long with our voices not being heard. So this conversation, my hope is to be able to pull individuals like yourself that is in a lane. You're in a lane. You got your people, your squad, your community. There's other people in Durham, Black Durham, that need to hear your voice that haven't. And so again, that's the hope of what we're trying to paint. Let me ask you this: what work in Durham would you say you're most proud of, or that you're most passionate about?
Well, I would say 100% my gym and working with the underserved community of Black and brown youth and adolescent, teaching the martial arts. We don't teach traditional martial arts. We teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Luta Livre, MMA, and it's one of those underserved communities that often get whitewashed out and pretend to be not able to, whether it be financially or socially, try to get pushed out of or overlooked being a part of. So one of my things is opening my gym in Durham County was to find a way to offer my services, my knowledge, and my experience to the underserved community of Black and brown youth so that I can give them the same opportunities that this sport has afforded me in a safe space, in a safe lane.
I appreciate that. What has it been like? What has been the response from Black Durham as far as the community around there and you doing it and you creating that space for them?
I think it's been a mixed bag. Those that have come out, I feel like have been receptive, enjoyed it, and continue their journey with me. But those who haven't heard about me, those who don't know about me, that end up going to other gyms, they don't realize what they're missing and what's being for lack of a better word, kind of sort of being hid from them of how the experience should go.
Facts.
I've been in the gym with numerous places throughout the state. I've traveled all over the world, been in gyms all over the world, and I truly understand what mentorship, fellowship, and a great opportunity in a gym that's nurturing and caring for you. And a lot of these gyms, people are not really able to see that and experience that until they get into a true mentoring program, a true caring program. And I wasn't either until I actually had the opportunity to go out and get a mentor that genuinely was about helping me build my skills, my confidence, and to show me how to develop a program to help build up youth and adolescents in the area, the neighborhoods that I care to develop and work with.
I love that. Okay. I appreciate that. So let's jump right into it. What would be the 3 key systematic issues that you believe are affecting the humanity of Durham's Black community?
In my opinion, the 3 main systematic things that continuously face not just the Durham community, but just the Durham Black community throughout the diaspora, and it's always going to be the same. It's going to be white supremacy and its tentacles of a major structure of racism, sexism, and capitalism. Once you have those 3 main arms of the system or the beast reaching out and starting to undermine, undercut, and stealing human rights from the people, you're always going to have the same results. The results will always be the same where, as in Durham County, you see the Black and brown community, especially my community, you're going to be underserved within your community. It's going to be high crime. There's going to be alcohol. There's going to be drug abuse. The last time I checked, one of the things that I talk about in my gym, and we teach primary self-defense, and we try to teach gender-based violence. Like one of my mentors and coaches and brothers, Dewan Owens, talks about is gender-based violence. In Durham County, in the area that I serve, centrally located around North Carolina Central, Fayetteville, and Austin, has one of the largest, if not the largest, concentration of sex offenders. So when those 3 main things begin to show its head under the white supremacy, it continuously undermines the mental health, the social health, the community health. It undermines the ability to be actively involved because you're trying to defend so many tentacles. You only have 2 hands, but a monster and a beast has so many tentacles that they continuously attack you in small waves, and then you just always feel constantly overwhelmed and outgunned, and you never know when and where to defend and attack back at. So those 3 things for me is the things that I always feel is what undermines the Durham community that also is represented throughout the diaspora wherever we are located.
Wherever we are. Okay, so in that, what does it, and there's a follow-up question to that, what does it mean for the Black community to be seen in that way? Whether it's about seeing, whether it's us seeing our struggle, or we're able to create some kind of defense to where we can, the oppressor can recognize that. So what is it like for that community that you're referencing, our community, Black Durham, to be seen?
One of the things for me when we talk about those I always say the biggest thing and the only thing in my mind is white supremacy. The 3 things that's underlining those 3 symptoms that I categorize as the people who created the problem, I don't feel like have any reason to come to the table and try to rectify it. You set up a system specifically, you got the results. Now I need my own people to be acknowledged and be honest with themselves and say, hey, you created this problem, I don't need you to fix it, I need you to get out of the way. And if you're not willing to get out of the way, I'll shove you out of the way. So when I'm talking about the Black community, the Black people within Durham County, What I think and I feel is necessary is you to acknowledge that there's an issue and that you're the only one that can address it. You're the only one that cares to address it, and then you must be honest within yourself to address it. Looking for anybody to come and save you or to come and help you who are the benefactors and the designers of your struggle and your problem, I feel is short-sighted and negligent on your own behalf, and you will continuously get the results that you have always got interacting with people outside of our community.
That's word, man. That's word. So in some context, Black Durham does himself a disservice when we are expecting to be seen by people that aren't there for us.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. So when I say be seen, or when people say be seen, I always want to know exactly what do they mean by being seen. In my opinion, when I say be seen, I mean you to understand you've done what you've done.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm not here to say, hey, let's go get the pitchforks and murder and kill everyone. Now I need to be seen by you understanding, all right, your ancestors did what they did. I need you to fall back and stand to the side and not try to tell me how to fix a problem that you created. The best thing that you can do is go within your own community and attack your system, your ideology, your issues of whiteness and how whiteness is pervasive within other communities to destroy and destruct and to steal the joy and the enlightenment that these communities bring, and then let people handle the situation the best way that they can. We don't need advice. I don't need advice on how to be black. I've been this my whole life, and I've dealt with blackness my whole life. I don't need a black mentor and white face. I'll find who I need within my community I believe in, trust, and love, and feel like they return the favor. So when I say be seen, I need people to understand, listen, it is what it is at this point.
I want that.
I need you to go ahead and step back and understand you can't fix my problem. So being seen sometimes means being quiet, being heard by not saying anything.
And so and that's why I wanted to ask that question, because in our space, we think about them, we think about even announcing, hey, I'm in this space, value me, accept me, right, love me. And again, you said it well. If you're asking someone that has historically not had your best in mind, not seeing you as a full person, again, we are almost selling us as Black Durham. We're selling ourselves an illusion, right? And so, for me, I love how you said it, because that's where I want to personally invest time in. What does it mean for us to see us, right? And so that's important that we establish. That's how I use it, but I want to give a chance to be able to have that discussion, because I know when it comes to activism and civil rights and our rights and my rights and how you speak to me, oftentimes we don't, as a black community, don't acknowledge that it should be different with us and them.
Yes.
Like there's a difference, and I think often we try to lump it all in one, and I end up checking you, but the energy is coming from the top, or it's coming from outside. And so, again, and we're going to go to Black economics next, but again, for me, I wonder, and you can follow up on this, I wonder how much of the tension and the pulling and the harm and the damage that's perpetual, it comes from me seeing white supremacy in you, right? Speak to that.
Well, I'll say this. When we talk about how we interact within our own neighborhoods with each other, it is 100% a benefit of white supremacy that we don't feel engaged and don't feel trusted and loved by those that look exactly by us. It isn't happenstance that people feel, and this is going to our next transition point, economics. It isn't happenstances that other people feel comfortable staying within their own community and supporting their own community, but within the black community, black neighborhoods, we would rather go into the other shops and support their business because they're considered to be better. They're labeled as more professional. They're labeled to give the services that I demand and I deserve. So when we talking about how we entertain and engage with each other and how we entertain and engage others outside of our own circle. It is definitely the byproduct of centuries, decades of the interaction of white supremacy attacking and being structured specifically to produce these results. If you look at black communities, black people throughout the diaspora, the results are similar everywhere. If you go to Haiti, if you go to the continent, if you go to the Asian continent and go into Europe, you will have the same root causes, the same root symptoms of people looking like you being within that same neighborhood community, but they are not in control of what is going on within the country, whether it be politically, socially, ideology. So when it happens that you look at each other sideways, it's a frustration within each other and the situation of why are we not in control, and your frustration begins to internalize yourself. When you have an issue with yourself, people who look exactly like you, you continuously to see yourself in them, and it's easier to lash out at someone who looks like you and someone who have the same ideology as you, not understanding how to articulate your frustration with the system, and it comes back and begins to eat at each other, and then you see how people go back and forth. One of the things that I try to talk about is I tell people this, as simple as the young people say nowadays is, keep that same energy. If you got a problem with me and what I do, I want you to go to the next store, the next restaurant, the next gym, the next university, the next relationship. I want you to bring that same energy that you giving me. I want you to take it to everybody else, and then we'll be fine. But here's the problem. I don't feel like that's genuine. I don't feel like that's authentic. And so I'm one of those people, look, man, I'll call it what I call it. How you feel about it don't really matter to me. If you have a problem with it, you know, I'm a pretty simple guy to come in contact with. I'll tell you the truth. Like, look, you're doing X, Y, and Z. I don't have a problem with telling you that. At the same time, those same people outside of my area, outside of my circle, I'll tell them the same thing. I don't rock with you. I don't like you. I don't respect how you do whatever you're doing if it's not being beneficial to my people authentically. And so I just tell people, as young people say, give me that same energy in all of these lanes, and then we got more in line that I can be comfortable with your attitude and your antics. Because if anything is different, I don't genuinely respect it and regard it as being authentic. Therefore, now we both gonna have to have a discussion and talk and figure out what's the underlying issue. And the underlying issue is always the same thing.
Wow. Well said. So, giving us our power back in regards to black economics, how we practice that. What is black economics to you? We're both business owners in general, but what is it to you, and what does it look like, or should it look like in general?
I'll say it as simple as this. Black economics to me is, if your money doesn't stay within your community, doesn't circle with your community, doesn't benefit, I'll say it as simple as this. I can't remember if it was the late great Dick Gregory saying, blacks don't have a community. We don't own anything. We're not in charge of anything. So I'm trying to preface my words and my thought, because to be honest, I can't go find a black bank to say, hey, I need X amount of dollars to go buy this. I can't go to a black realtor on a continuous basis. You may find people who have niches or lanes, but if you don't control everything within your area, the neighborhoods, the way people move in said neighborhoods, and the way you hold people accountable in those neighborhoods, I don't consider it as yours. I don't consider that a community. I feel like we have to get to that point where we are in control of everything that goes on within our area. Then we can call it our community. Because at the end of the day, if someone in the neighborhoods that we own say they want us out of them houses,
we're going.
You got to leave. It's not yours. If somebody wants you out of those retail spaces that you're leasing,
right?
If you don't own it,
right?
you got to go.
Right.
So technically, you're a squatter business owner, and so I'm speaking for myself, and I'll speak honestly and blatantly to other people. If you don't own the land which you own and you can't protect it, you're squatting on, you're a squatter owner, and so you're not really in charge. And so to get back, or try to circle back around to what you're saying, for me, I feel like being a black business owner, I'm genuinely authentic with who I am and what I do and the service I offer. I don't offer anything that I can't do myself. I don't teach people karate. I've never done karate. Even though certain techniques that I've learned and I've practiced for the past 20 plus years have karate traditional background, but I wasn't taught karate, I was taught a technique. So I don't feel authentic to go tell people, oh yeah, I got a bunch of experience where I've competed and fought and I do striking, so karate, I can teach you that. That's not being honest. So when I talk about black economics and being black business and supporting within our home, I always tell people, one, you got to be authentic to yourself. If you believe that's something that you believe in, go wholeheartedly and don't let anyone steer you any different. And if you don't believe in supporting black business, keeping your money within your group, with your people, you got to be honest of why not. And so for me, the answer to me is, you got to be, one, honest with yourself. Why don't you spend your black dollars with your black brothers and sisters? Why not? What stops you from doing it? How will you perceive in these particular businesses? Because here's the simple fact. In 2020, there's no way you're going to tell me that there's not someone within your area that has some semblance of knowledge, if not expertise, that you can go and learn from.
Right.
I'll use myself since I'm the one that's talking. I have two mentors, I have two coaches that provide me with great mentorship. One of them is in South America. My coach that my gym is under, Ibani Barrico, Peruvian brother. My gym is under him. My jiu-jitsu coach is a black male under Chet Mack Charlotte. He is my mentor in jiu-jitsu. So I have two coaches throughout the North America, South America that I rely on, that I reach out to, people of color. And one of the things that I feel comfortable with is when I reach out, I feel like it's authentic mentorship. I'm not wondering, are they going to give me real advice, give me genuine advice? So when I found people that I respect and I trust. And so when we talk about spending our dollars and our resources within our own areas with our own people, do you regard them? Do you respect them? Do you trust them enough that they're giving you a quality service? And if you do, go for it. And if you don't, why don't you? Because we've been in this world, we've been the leader in the globe all over since the inception of doing everything and anything. And so if you don't regard your own as paramount, you have to now say why and address that within yourself. That's just how it is. So if you're not going to support your own, you can't ever, to me, speak about what's not going right and what's not right with the world. And so that's just how I see it.
It's powerful, brother. It's powerful. So, for me, hearing you say that, it feels like I see this map of personhood, of respect, of a community that's building power, and then down here I see justice, right? And so, let me into that ethic that you just came. Let me into what has shaped your belief around personhood and respect for black people.
I feel like my journey has been a unique journey, and I'm still on that journey. I've been in this world since the 70s, and every day I learn, I change, I transform, and I hope to be better so that therefore those who come after me, I can give them something that's beneficial and worthwhile. So for me, I'm an educator. I have 2 master's degrees. I teach history. I teach within the kinesiology department at North Carolina Central University. One of the biggest things for me is having experienced difficult times, tough times, but then also having genuine and authentic people being true mentors. So when I deal with difficult times, I'm able to decipher and understand what real mentorship is, because I've had it and I've not had it. And so for me, I've been in higher education, have multiple graduate professional degrees, actually have taught at multiple numerous universities, but I also have always participated in athletics. So I played football, made my college football team, professional fighter in combat sports, boxing, MMA, kickboxing. So I've experienced it from a bunch of different angles. So I understand what true leadership, authentic leadership is like versus when somebody's just doing a job. So for me, my biggest bonus in life and this journey is that I have the opportunity to have failed and to have succeeded. And then I'm able to turn around and internalize it and honestly with myself say what is my strengths, what is my weaknesses, and then being able to look back and go work on both. I'm not picking one side or the other. I'm not saying my weaknesses are this. I'm just going to work on my weaknesses, which is great to do, but I also have great strengths that I can work on simultaneously and keep those above par and even get better. And as at the same time, be working on what my weaknesses are and then continuously putting energy into that and to improve on that. Once I stop learning, I feel like there's no other point in me doing anything. Education, learning has always been paramount to me because of my upbringing. I struggled with school early on. It took me a while to get my niche, get my lane, and understand how important it is to me and how easily and how comfortable I can become within it if I do it the right way based on my style, my learning type, around the people who can guide me and lead me.
So speak to education some more. Help me paint the picture for me. So when it comes to historically black education and then this futuristic black education, what are the most important things that you feel us as a black Durham should be learning? The critical things that you say, hey, the most important things that we should be saying, you can't go without these things.
It's as simple as we was talking about earlier when we talking about if you're not supporting your own, you're already in a deficit. If you're not asking other people to step back and get away from my community, it's something that needs to be worked on internally, in-house. So when I talk about education, it's the same. Why don't you want black teachers? Why don't you want black schools? Why don't you want a black coach? Why don't you want to attend a black university? Why don't you want to play for a historically black college or university to bring that awareness to your own? So for me, education, I've done very, very well in school and I've done very, very poorly in school. And the only thing that I can correlate is when I attended school, college, with my own people, with my own community, and I was honest with myself, I shined. When I tried to figure out my upbringing coming along, going to school primarily in primary school with white kids, I struggled because I never felt like my teachers and my educators cared enough about me and tried to bring me up. And so when I did finally attend college, I still held on to some of those negative behaviors and negative stereotypes and beliefs. So I struggled there and then at the same time. But once I came to North Carolina Central University and entered in our history department, I found the best and the greatest mentors in my life that still helps me, still benefits me, still guides me to this day. So education is, if you don't have mentors who have an ideology similar and closely in line to yours, that look like you, that been through those similar things, I find it very hard for them to be able to articulate how they want to mentor you and lead you and guide you in a difficult and perilous times if they've never experienced and they don't understand what you're going through. So my successes and my failures are 100% based upon my previous experiences, the people who I've came in contact with, and then when I finally figured it out and I was ready to accept it and receive, the people who I needed appeared. And then things began to take off for me.
Wow. So when I guess again appreciate how you said that. So when it comes to education, if again, how we segment it, how we compartmentalize, and you're taking us beyond just like, all right, I'm gonna go get this.
Just go from when you're talking about education.
Okay.
Do the education piece over.
No, not the whole thing. Just your
okay.
recap.
Okay.
Yeah.
It feels like when I hear you, when I heard what you just said, going beyond what I'm seeing in my generation, I'm 35 and below, seeming like, hey, let me get this degree so I can get to the bag, right? So I can get to Cisco, so I can get to RTP, let me get to Silicon Valley, right? And I've seen this again, and I want you to speak to this. What does that look like when we just let me just go and get this skill, and I'm going to remove my people from the acquisition of that skill? Again, on the backside, we get hurt because what? Now we haven't humanized our experience. We're just going to get this to get to the bag, and it puts us in a silo. And so you got hundreds of thousands of our people that have went through to get to Google, get there, or get the bag, get your spot, get in the community, but now our bag, now I'm gonna black my screen now. I'm gonna get a Black Lives Matter, I'm a hashtag, or and kind of we missed our moment when we was coming through this space. We was disregarding the mentors, the old heads, you know what I mean? Because we started, so how does it happen? And how do we break that?
Well, let me say first and foremost, when I say education, I always like to make sure I tell people this. Education isn't always going to a liberal arts school getting a collegiate degree. That's first and foremost. So education to me is your lane of empowering and enlightening yourself. So when I say go get an education, I have a cousin who is a mechanic. He never wanted to go to school. He always loved cars. He always loved working with his hands. Boom. He has his own tow truck company. He also works on cars. That's education from him. He did those tools, those tasks that helped him build up himself in an educational mindset at what his lane was. So one, you got to be authentic with what your lane is. Growing up, a lot of times people preach education, but they wasn't giving out authentic education. What is real education?
Yes.
I'm an actual professional fighter. I like punching people in the face as my happy time. So for me to go get 2 master's degrees, cool, loved it, did very, very well. My instructors enjoyed their experience with me and they mentored me the right way. But here's the catch. I didn't actually have to go to a liberal arts 4-year college to do what I'm actually passionate about and love. So first and foremost, you got to have people being in your upbringing, bringing around you when you're being reared and being honest with you and talking to you about what education is. If you say you want to be a plumber, okay, my guy, here what we going to do. We going to set you up where you get to go and see what that type of work is and see if that's really what you like.
Right.
Boom, okay, you like flowers, you like doing outdoorsy stuff, being agricultural. Do you want to go to school so you can work in the forest industry, or do you want to, work on farms, taking care of horses or cattle, whatever the case may be? People are not telling people what education is. Education isn't just getting degrees and certification. To me, I feel like we missed the bus on that.
Absolutely.
Education is being empowered to do what your skills and your passion allows you to do, and then maximize those results. If you see, and I'm just going to give an example, but this doesn't necessarily reflect everything and everyone. One of the most recent whistleblowers that blew off the lid on a couple of issues within the U.S., Edward Snowden. He didn't have any degrees. When he was working for the National Security Advisory Company and all these different secret service or elite investigative service within the United States, he just had a great skill set and he worked and perfected his craft, and he got very, very good. He never went to school for that. So when people tell you you must go to school, not the case. Malcolm X never went to school.
Never went to
I want you to find a man that's more articulate, more
Please
well thought,
do.
and insightful
Please
than
do.
him. And if you outweigh, and if you do, then that will empower me and enlighten me. So it's not necessarily that you have to go to school to be educated. Now, for me and my experience, education for me was paramount because I wanted to go to college and play football because my older brother went to college and played football. My older cousins went to college and played football. So I looked up to them. So for what I was really chasing was I was wanting to follow in their footsteps. I wanted to do things like they did. So to be realistically honest, I only went to college because I wanted to play college football like my older brothers and cousins. So education, I had to go to school to do what I wanted to do. So I had to go to college. So that's the only reason I initially went to college was to play ball. But one of the things as a teacher now, I tell students is make sure the possible debt that you are incurring taking you to the place that you really want to be. So if you're saying I'm gonna end up going home and opening up a shop, a mechanic shop, okay, why would you get a business administration degree if you really just want to be a mechanic?
Right,
if you want to own a shop, why wouldn't you go and work in a shop and ask them or
Invest
tell
that way.
them that, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. Could you possibly work with me, mentor me on this? Boom. One, you save a lot of long nights of studying till like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Two, you gain the actual experience on what you're trying to do. You're seeing how businesses work, seeing what the pitfalls, the struggles, how much time you have to invest in your own business. So education is not always sitting in the classroom. One of the things that I found out, like I said, I have multiple degrees now. I'm a business owner. I've been in business for 4 years. But one of the things I tell people is my history degree don't teach me how to do books. My history degree don't teach me how to market. And so, yes, I do have an educational background in this particular lane, but that particular lane is a passion project for me as far as learning about my history, my community, my people, and talking about them and learning how to articulate it to others. But what my personal interest is doesn't actually help me beneficially as a business owner. Right. So being able to talk about education, you got to understand the context of when you say that and how you present it to people, and then you go out and find those that can help you go out and begin that process in education, real education.
That's good. That's good. That brings me kind of to the next piece I'm going to ask you about Black Power and its representation in Durham. But before we go there, I want to ask a little bit more. When it comes to, I'm asking, like I'm trying to pick this up for myself and say, hey, I'm in Durham. I'm an 18, 19, 20-year-old young man or woman, and I'm trying to understand my gifting there. I'm trying to understand what I'm good at. The world is telling me I need to go to a liberal arts 4-year degree. That's where I'm gonna get the bag. And I'm gonna come out for a second. This young man or woman, at that moment, by looking outside of his community to say, hey, I got to go to state, to central, I got to, not even central. I got to go to UNC or state, or I got to go to Charlotte or UNC Wilmington or Pembroke to be able to get a good education, right? And so this is just a liberal arts conversation. But where does that young man or woman miss, if that's me, where am I missing the respect and the value? How do I get that for the community that I'm in? Because one of the things I realize, and I want you to answer, is that I meet young guys that even might have gone to school and come back, and the values that we have when we see the man that's a plumber or this brother that's an artist or a brother owns a barbershop, oftentimes we don't see them as pillars in the community. So we don't see them like we might see a professor, a PhD or somebody you would see. And so I'm asking a question about respect. What should respect for Black Durham look like? For that young 18-year-old, 22-year-old man or woman that's trying to find themselves, how do they tap into that in the community? What's that look like to have that kind of respect or to develop it? Because there's some barriers there. How do we break them down?
So I've been up here in Durham since 2002. So for me, I always think of, when I look at Durham, like, what is your end goal? What is your end result that you're looking for? So if you decide to go to a school that's not a historically black college or university, what is the why? Like, why did you attend the UNC Pembroke's, the UNC Chapel Hills, the Charlottes, the NC States, the Carolinas? Why did you attend those schools, and did they give you the necessity or the necessary skills to come back to your community and then build your community back up? So for me, when you go out into these different universities, these different places, learning skill sets, getting prepared to go into that next phase of life, and which is adulthood, begin to work and begin to possibly set an example for that next generation. How are they preparing you to do that? If they're not giving you authentic tools, genuine tools of how to fight against oppression, how to build your community, how to use your rights, to actually learn what your rights are, this is how you have that disconnect from when people say, well, you ain't nothing but a plumber. I'll tell you this right now. Plumbers make more than PhDs. Unless you like one of the leading,
It's a fact, right?
if you're one of the leading authorities in your particular field, okay, yeah, maybe you up there with the plumber. But unfortunately, I'm calling plumbers. You don't. Most people don't, and I'm talking about like professional. Because I'm one.
It's a credit hour to see them. Like you're gonna pay what you pay for a credit hour to just see them in your doorway. Right?
And they ain't even fixing nothing.
They ain't touching nothing.
I just called you out.
Right.
So for me, when people talk about getting the bag, okay, what type of bag do you want? Because I'm telling you now, I know what plumbers make. I know what good barbers, good hairstylists, good professionals in trades that's not coming from a liberal arts background. I know the kind of money that these people are making. I got family and friends that do that. So I know the type of money that they make. And to be honest, if I didn't want to play football, I definitely would have had a trade. Like, just being honest. Because to be honest, the money that you can make in a trade without incurring the same level of debt, you take off from a level so fast that you begin to get into your best life, as the young people say, so much sooner. Because once you get into the craft, you paid your apprenticeship, you've done your time, you've perfected your craft. Well, now you are a master of what you do. You don't owe people $100,000.
The game is completely changed.
You know, so for me, when you go to these outside community liberal arts universities, are they preparing you to go back within your community and build it up and show the proper respect, rather than have you disconnected with like, oh, I have a liberal arts degree, I have a bachelor's in criminal justice, I have a bachelor's in psychology. Okay, that's cool, but you make $32,000 a year, and this plumber or this mechanic is making 80, 90. The start. So if you talking about a bag, he a lot heavier. He got a couple more than you, and you owe people most of yours. So for me, when we talk about respect and understanding our own community, I always talk about anything that I do that doesn't absolutely benefit myself and people who look like me, it ain't worthwhile. And my favorite historical scholar is Dr. John Henry Clark. And I always like to quote him and talk about, and this is paraphrasing, this isn't exact science, anything that isn't about and benefits your people should be thrown in the waste bin, the trash bin that is not beneficial. So if you go and get a PhD, but then you don't come back and empower and build and work within your community, you did something wrong. There's no middle ground on that. That isn't nothing that we should discuss. You're not beneficial. You're not helpful. So if you're not learning something that you can come back and give to the young kid who look like you, that has the same potential, if not more, you're wasting it. And so I don't really see no other way of explaining it.
That's clear.
The simple fact is, the reason that I went to college is my older brother and older cousins went to college, played football. The reason I got into martial arts, like I said, I enjoy getting into fist fights, I enjoy the fisticuffs, but I saw somebody that looked like me that was considered the man, Master Lord Irving in DC, and he teaches some of the best world champions, homegrown martial artists that look like me, that have locks, that got the tattoos, that got the big muscles, that look a certain way, that looks like, oh, they shouldn't be into this particular whitewash sport, and then they go out and then they just mollywop and just walk through guys. So the reason that I'm in what I'm doing is because someone looks like me inspired me to do it. So anytime that I walk past or I go past and speak with anyone, it's never me not being receptive, never me about not trying to empower and listen, gain the jewels that I need. People got jewels, I'm all about getting jewels. So no matter what you do, I'm about acquiring jewels. And at the same time, I may be able to empower and put some jewels into someone else, and now it's beneficial for everyone. So I never understood how people could go and attend the Duke universities, the Carolinas, the States, and all these two particular universities, and then never come back to their community, never come back to do anything positive for their people in their neighborhoods. And so for me, I just found that those people that do those type of things, they have no benefit to my people in our area, so there's no need for me to put much energy or time into people like that. You're not here for us, so I'm not here for you.
Wow. So along those lines, what would be the expressions of Black power that you haven't seen in Durham that would captivate that Black energy? That energy towards, say, look, I see someone, beyond seeing someone doing a profession, what are the expressions? This probably gets into organizing, like we talked on the phone, and just collectively coming together. What are those expressions for you that you've yet to see in Durham, or that you would call, like, this is the audacity of my hope, right? That you're hoping to see cultivate in the future. What are those things that we need to see in Durham to be able to draw us in?
One of the things that I see in all these movements and all these struggles, whatever they may be, those people who are on the fringes, I don't feel like they're brought in and being brought to the table. So you see the young kid who maybe ain't the best talker, maybe he's not the most articulate in expressing his thought. He maybe need more time to be able to get his thoughts out and to get them so people may understand. Those people are the people who, when I say underrepresented, that I like to talk for and like to talk with. That's who I once was. I was a kid who actually was homeschooled for a major portion of my life. So from probably middle school to high school, I actually was homeschooled off and on. So I was one of those kids that things didn't always necessarily click well for me. So I was better off doing stuff by myself. And it took time for me to be able to understand how to articulate myself in groups, how to get along with large groups, and being able to not always feel like I had to dominate the conversation or always being seen. So young kids within our people and our neighborhoods, those are the kids that I feel like are being pushed to the side, not being voiced. That's who I need to be given an opportunity, given a chance to have a voice. Maybe they're not necessarily always at the forefront, maybe they're not always on TV, but you need to actually use those young kids and let them use their voice, their power, their energy. They serve a purpose. Nobody within our neighborhoods should feel like I'm not being heard, I'm not being seen. I don't know what everybody's lane is. Everybody has to be authentic and be true to themselves, but there is a lane for everybody within our people to be active in this struggle, in this fight against white supremacy. So the young brothers and sisters who are similar to myself at a very, very young age that didn't develop as well as soon as everybody else did, those are kids that I feel like are not being helped, they're not being heard. People always want a finished product as soon as possible, and that's not always the key. You gotta always give people a chance to be developed, be nurtured, and let them come into their own. So if young kids not being heard, maybe are not being listened to, being spoke to, they have a tendency to act out and be mischaracterized and misrepresented, and then now it looks like the people within our area is not all on the same page. We're not on the same page because you have people saying, I'm going to be the voice, I'm going to be the leader, you have to follow what I say or follow what I'm doing. That's not my lane. My lane may be, I want to build all the stuff, the signs, I want to paint the signs. Maybe I'm the guy that go and, bring the waters. Maybe I'm the guy that is always cheering people on. Whatever the case may be, everybody has a voice and need to be used within a struggle against white supremacy. And so I feel like people are not letting the young kids who have a different way of expressing themselves use their voice. I'm not saying that they can't stand in the front. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But you definitely should still give them a chance and opportunity to be heard within our people. So you gotta always try to make sure you're talking to everyone. And if you're not, why are you not? What is the reason you're not doing it? And that's that authentic piece of you see these different revolts and rebellions throughout the globe now. People are expressing themselves how they feel most appropriate for them.
Yeah.
And so if people are not willing to talk to, not willing to listen and mentor, nurture, and help develop a voice and a way for them to be voiced, to express their voice and be heard, this is what you get. And so that's the segment of my people in my neighborhoods and areas that I feel like I connect with best. The young kids who maybe, he ain't gonna be able to slick his talk or the most articulate cat, but if he say he gonna do something, he gonna get into it.
Yeah.
If he say I'm going left, look man, I would say I'm going left, that's which way I'm going.
Yeah.
And then now you gotta be like, when you go left, make sure you look for these pitfalls, this possible, outcome, and being willing and able to accept it.
Yeah.
So for me, that's who I drift to, because that's who I am, that's where I come from. Those are the kids and the guys and girls that I hung out with and grew up with. And then I'm now in a position where now I can be like, I know how that's going to turn out, done that. I know how that's going to turn out, done that. Try doing this when you get ready to do that. Watch how it change the angle, the perspective of what you're going to do and the results you'll get. So I'm more of the fringe guy. I'm the guy that's on the fringe that people are like, why are they over there? What are they doing? And I'm standing over there with them because I'm that same dude. I'm like, what is he doing? What is he about? Why is he over there? And my response is always this: I'm doing me. It's just that simple. Those young kids, guys and girls, we doing us. You know what I'm saying? We may not have to do it the way you want it done, but we're always adding some value in our own way. And the people within our backing community areas need to come in and sit down and talk with those kids and young people and find out what they're thinking, how they're thinking, and what they think they can add to the discourse and the discussion.
Man, that's beautiful. I appreciate the input. I appreciate you taking some time to share, to give us value. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Those that are listening, check us out. We're coming back every week. This is a conversation with Black Durham about our issues around housing, education, justice, and Black family life. And so, my man, thank you so much. Can you close us out by letting folks know how they can get involved in some of the work that you're doing?
So, as we stated earlier, my name is Harold Hubbard. I'm the head coach and owner of Pitbull Martial Arts Center. If you would like to come learn, we offer free self-defense classes. We teach self-defense at the university in different areas. But if you would like, you can look us up on social media on Facebook, PMAC-USA. If you look us up on Instagram, same thing, PMAC-USA. If you go onto our website, PMACUSAMMA.com, you will be able to find out what we have coming up, different competitions, different free sessions, seminars, classes, competitions. You'll be able to find a lot about. And one of the things that I was talking about, the instructor that got me into this particular martial arts, Master Lord Irvin, he inspired me to believe that I could do something that I didn't really see a lot of us doing. And now it has afforded me the opportunity that I've been all over the world, coaching, competing myself, fighting professionally, coaching world championship fights, doing a lot of different things coming from the state of North Carolina. So one of the things that I will encourage people, whether you come train with me or you go and pick it up, some different skill set all over the world, you have opportunities to do whatever you so choose. Just know that you got to be authentic with yourself, be honest with yourself, and don't let nobody else deter you with what you're doing. So when I say let's go champ 3 times, like Shannon Cannon Briggs, it's all authentic, it's genuine, that's how I feel. I just want to encourage and empower people to do whatever you're going to do and give it all you got, and don't let nobody else steer you. So let's go champ, let's go champ.
We'll keep rapping, family. Peace.